Hello comrades, Commissar Bro here today with Stellaris, that's right. I've been telling you guys for months I have full intentions to play this game, and here we are. So this first video is not really going to be me playing it, more so just explaining some stuff about it in a later portion of the game. This would, I guess you would consider this to be mid-game, where we are right now. That's right, and as you can see here, all this red is the Imperium of Jubilee. That would be my own created little empire. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You got some cool stuff. You can see this is the maximum of what we've explored to. However, we are aware of various empires spread all throughout the cosmos. That's right. That's right. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, let's try to condense what we're going to talk about to a singular area. Because like I said, with Stellaris, there's a lot to talk about. A lot of people are calling this the best 4X space strategy game to come out in years. And I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, but I do believe that this game is an incredibly well done effort from Paradox Interactive, and I think it is fun on so many levels. Like, very many levels. It does a lot of things right. More importantly, it does a lot of things in a new way. That's kind of what makes this game stand out, is there's just so many ways it just does things differently. Like, even how research occurs. It doesn't really operate like your standard 4X space strategy game. The fact that it's real time, it's more like Distant Worlds universe. Now, it has its own complexity to it. Like, not necessarily complexity, but more like just things you can do. But anyway, we'll get into that as we move along. But what I want to start out by saying is that with Stellaris, you are going to come into this game, if you're a veteran of many 4X space strategy games like myself, if you played a lot of these games, you're going to come into this game and you're probably going to be a bit frustrated with the user interface at first. It's very different. And as you learn it, as you get used to it, you realize it's actually not bad. Like, at first, I hated the UI. My first 2 hours playing the game, I was not a fan of the UI. I couldn't stand having to switch between this map and a galaxy map. And then it seemed like everything just disappeared if you zoomed out just a bit too much. But I've gotten used to it, and it actually makes sense. It kind of condenses the information. You could almost look at this as like a simplified map, whereas this is a more in-depth map of each system. And it helps you from getting too confused. It isolates each solar system in its own special little bubble. That's right, so it makes it just a lot easier to keep track of where things are. Now, I'm not going to lie, I tend to use the outliner to pretty much teleport wherever I need to go, to look at the things I need to look at. And by the way, check out this smexy little fleet. One thing I cannot wait for is additional designs on ships, because the ship's designs, because there's so many extensive character customization options, the ship designs are kind of lacking, it would seem. This game, for example, I've been playing for maybe 5 hours, and I've only encountered 2 different types of military vessels for the humanoid ship types. Now, there's still like defensive platforms, as you can see here, but they lack a lot of personality, which is something I'm kind of sad about. It's really cool, though, to watch the battles, because you can see like the guns on the ships here. They will actually sit there and blast away at enemy ships nearby. So it would be really cool, though, to see some mods come out for this game where people introduce their own custom models and stuff. That's going to be great, and I'm super excited for that, especially if somebody makes like a Warhammer 40k mod. This would actually be a great game for Star Wars mods, or Warhammer mods, or, you know, if you're into Star Trek. Like, you can actually do more things in terms of... and by the way, excuse me, I have a cold. But you can actually do more stuff in terms of interacting with planets that have primitive species on it and stuff like that than you can in most other 4X games, which is really cool. Now, not every planet is going to have like a primitive plant species on it, but I mean, you'll just have some interesting stories. Sometimes you'll meet a culture that's in a Neolithic state. It's still very primitive. But then you'll meet aliens who are in a machine age, who've just learned how to split the atom. I myself had an interesting story of where there was a planet that I found with people that they were just learning air travel. They were just learning, so biplanes and stuff like that. And within about 20 years, they had learned how to split the atom. But unfortunately, their Cold War went hot, and the planet ended up blowing itself up and bathing in nuclear radiation. It was very interesting, and personally, I had become attached to the planet because I had an observation post and I was studying the people on the planet. So it was really cool to see that they were down there, and you know, that you could interact with them and they can actually affect your society and so on and so forth. It was really, really cool. So there's a lot of stuff this game does right. Like, it just does right, and it feels great. But there's some other stuff that I'm not a huge fan of. For example, the fact that the only way you can win this game is through conquest. You have to be a warlord in this game, which is kind of a bummer, because generally when I play these types of games, I don't really go out of my way to be an over-aggressive fighter. You know, I'm always about, like, economy and managing a strong economy and whatnot. So that's kind of something I would much prefer to do. But again, you don't really have that choice. You've got two. You've got domination, which is own 40% of all colonizable planets, which you can see I am only 7 out of the 270 planets required. And then there's conquest, where you pretty much beat the shit out of all the other empires in the game. And as you can see, there's plenty of people here who could pretty much take me out pretty easily. I actually went to war with the assembly of the Aramathi territories over here, and the only reason I won the war was because I outlasted them. They tried for 20 years. They blockaded my capital, which is right here, which is Jubilee. They blockaded my capital for 20 years after after several attempts at destroying my navy. They succeeded on the third time. And like I said, blockaded my capital, but we entrenched, and as you can see, the Jubilean army is massive. I built a huge army to stand strong against the Aramathi invaders, and thankfully we held out. We held out for 20 years, and eventually they agreed to a white peace. They saw they weren't getting anywhere, and it was nice. But see, that actually brings me to another point. From what I've played so far, is the AI knows how to blockade, but the AI does not know how to invade a planet. I've yet to engage in defensive ground combat. I've had my planets be bombarded by enemy factions and whatnot, but I haven't actually seen land invasions, which is a shame. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot going on here, and there is just a lot we could really talk about. So honestly, over the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of videos focusing on Stellaris, explaining how the game mechanics work, maybe even doing a Let's Play series where we create our own faction or something like that. Because I think that would be pretty fun. This game has a lot of stories to tell. It's just like Crusader Kings 2 or Europa Universalis 4 in terms of how it just generates these interesting little stories. For example, I mean, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes now just telling you a couple of experiences I've had in the past 10 hours of playing the game. More than likely, I'll do a full-on review as well in the future, because I think that would be interesting. A couple things I would like to see more of in this game. I would like to see more, like, space monsters. You don't have many. You have the occasional, like, for example, these gas grazers. Where are they? See, for example, you can see these are like giant space squids, which is really cool. Space whales. Whatever. Space whales, which is really cool. There needs to be all sorts of stuff to liven up the universe. It's actually kind of depressing, too, that you can't really, like, planets, even though they become more and more colonized, you don't really see a lot of stuff going on. Like, I mean, you can see here that Jubilee, being a fully populated planet, has lights all over it to show that it's populated, but you don't see like little tiny spaceships flying around it and stuff like that. A lot of games do that very well, I feel like Galactic Civilizations 3 and so on. You know, they kind of animate the planet to show that, hey, this is lived on, this is a developed planet, and stuff, something like that. So, you know, that's pretty cool. I wish there was more stuff like that. I haven't seen the late game yet, so I've gotten nowhere near finishing the game to any degree, because the first game I played, I was defeated in the first war that I fought. Because, I mean, the AI is aggressive in this game. The AI will take full advantage of your ass if you haven't built up a massive navy to take them on. I mean, this navy right here, it took me 10 years or so, probably more, 10 to 15 years to build this navy to the size that it's at, just to be able to hold off my enemies that I was fighting at the time. So yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. But anyway, like I said, expect more Stellaris videos in the future. Keep your eyes out. There is so much to talk about with this game. There's so much to do with this game. I'm hoping you guys are going to enjoy it, and I know that I am, because already in the 10 hours I've played, it has been a blast. It's been a great damn game. So I'm excited to see future content. I'm excited to see mods. There's so much stuff I'm excited to see from this game, and I feel like this could become a staple of the channel if we put a lot of time into it and we played it a bit more. But anyway, this has been Commissar Bro. Thanks so much for watching, and go grab a copy of Stellaris. It's $40 right now. It's great. It's worth it. It is definitely worth it. And I would highly suggest it to anybody who's even remotely a fan of Space 4X games, a fan of Crusader Kings, or any other Paradox title. You'll probably enjoy this as well. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time.